I always wanted to direct, and I always wanted to teach, but I never knew if I would do that or not. I guess that I was told when I was in school that eventually, I would have to teach because that's how we pass our tradition on. And so I expected that at some point I would be teaching. As far as that was concerned, I was called one day. This was when HIV/AIDS was rampaging through our theatrical community in the mid-'80s. And somebody called me from the Stella Adler studios and asked me if I could step in for their very wonderful Shakespeare teacher. His name was Mario Soletti, and he was in the hospital. Would I come in and teach? And I thought, wow, okay, I can do that. And that's the beginning of my teaching. That was the first class I taught. And after that, I taught at another place, another institution, and then another one. And then I ended up at NYU Tisch grad school for a few years. And then I went to Cal Arts. And then I went to, I'm teaching at Tom Charteroff now and a semester at Yale, which is great. I feel like I've gotten better and better and better as a teacher because I've, when you're in the classroom and you're working and your ear sharpens, your eye sharpens, what you need to say becomes more concise. It's an extraordinary feeling working. I feel like it's a very creative thing to do. It feels very natural to me. And as far as directing is concerned, I think even at Juilliard, I had tried to do a little directing. We all were directing each other, can you read this play or that play? And I remember doing one play with, I think it was an ennui play that I wanted to do. But eventually, I think the first time that I did direct was at a place called the National Shakespeare Conservatory, which doesn't exist anymore. But I started by directing a production of Bernarda Alba, The House of Bernarda Alba, by Lorca, a play that I always loved. And I worked with a group of really, young, new actresses who just were completely, gave their all to this project. Mm-hmm. And it was a really fulfilling, exciting time for me. Then I started directing 18th century plays, which are very funny. They're a little naughty. They're very naughty. Mm-hmm. But it didn't matter. We had a great time. There's a lot of cross-dressing and, a lot of sexual. It was a sexual freedom time. So that's why these plays are so naughty. A lot of them, and then I also directed A Ring Around the Moon back then, and some Shakespeare. I just did a lot of just putting them up. And it, you just do it enough and you kind of feel like you know how to make the bread, Mm-hmm. You start doing it. And I think that the thing I love most is directing Shakespeare. I feel like that. And I still love doing Lorca too. I love Lorca. I've done some pieces that I've created myself, just taking parts of his plays and working with a group of actors to create something from them, sort of in a deconstructed sort of way, but still very rewarding, I think. Lots of movement and sound.
Mm-hmm. One of the things, Mary Lou, that I loved, and I think I'm sure all of your students love, is how fresh. And I mean, it's really how much you love it. When you're seeing someone teach something and you're just chomping in, you can see your eyes light up. Like, I'm sure you've taught some of these plays so many times that you could get to the point where jaded or cynical, or you kind of phone it in or something. But the how deeply you care and how passionate you are. Like when I first met you at the I had done the Zoom things, but when I met you at the summer intensive in New York, it was just it's almost impossible not to get excited about Shakespeare and to fall in love with it, seeing how excited you are and seeing how much you love it. So thank you for that, because every lesson you teach, it's like you see your eyes light up and you're like, and look at this and look at that, and why is he saying that? And it always feels fresh from you, that you're discovering all this stuff really for the first time. And I'm sure often you're rediscovering things and you're finding new things that you maybe never thought of. But thank you for that, because I think it lights a fire under all of this. And I think that's the brilliant thing about any great teacher is when you see in your teacher how much they care and how much love they put into it, it's impossible not to fall in love with whatever subject it is, even if it's not something that you might have not thought that you would have been so into. You just see a teacher and you're like, holy shit, they love it so much, I can't help but fall in love with it. So
I think that's one of the great revelations of Shakespeare, is that it's just endless.